Hello everyone, we're with from Marcos.
Michael Amoglian.
And John Amoglian. And we want to thank you for tuning into our show today. We're excited to share our summarization of chapters 9 through 14, highlighting key moments and themes. We hope our insights spark some thoughtful reflections. Thanks again for listening, and let's dive in.
You're listening to Talk with JT podcast, where we explore key moments and themes in the chapters we discuss. In today's episode, we'll be diving into chapter 9 through 14, unpacking important events and character developments. Where you're reading along or just tuning in, we're excited to share our insights with you.
Sponsoring our show today is Gatorade, a very delicious drink that you can get at your local Walmart, Target, etc. We have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about these things from chapters 9 to 14 and the 5th journal, which talks about how Trevor experiences different types of racism throughout the chapters.
Trevor shares his stories about how racism wasn't always straightforward and how it wasn't even about black and white. He talks about colorism, cultural differences, and how people within the same group treat each other differently based on race.
Let's get started with our first topic, the key themes and stories from chapter 9 to 14. In these chapters, Trevor experiences about racism, identity, and controlling difficult relationships.
What conflicts do you think we can infer or predict about their lives? That Trevor struggled to fit in with his mixed race identity. The conflicts Trevor establishes between his mother and his past self are her strictness and her deep religious beliefs. He establishes it through strict parenting and religious differences. The conflict tells us that Trevor and his mother have a sometimes harsh and sometimes good relationship. Trevor is independent and curious, and Patricia is strong and determined, but in the end, it shows how much love and respect they both have for each other, even if they don't agree on certain things, or even if they argue sometimes.
In these chapters, the main character faces the challenge of dealing with racism while trying to fit in with different groups. She struggles between himself and trying to meet others' expectations. This is made harder by the need to provide himself and feeling like an outsider. Moving between different groups and dealing with more discrimination makes him question who he really is. It's a tough journey trying to fit in while also dealing with racism, which makes his character more complex.
One major challenge the protagonist faces in the tension between his identity and the expectations placed on him by different racial groups. He constantly feels torn as he doesn't fully fit in with any group. For instance, he mentions how he doesn't belong with the black kids, white kids, or even the colored kids. Each group has its own expectations, and he finds himself unable to meet them, which leaves him feeling isolated and disconnected. This struggle makes him feel like an outsider wherever he goes, constantly searching for a place where he can truly belong. The pressure to navigate these different identities is a significant emotional burden, contributing to a sense of alienation and confusion. What do you think the protagonist learns about himself in these chapters?
In these chapters, the protagonist learns a lot about himself, mostly in relation to his identity and where he fits in the world. He begins to realize that trying to meet the expectations of different groups, whether it's based on race or social status, only leaves him feeling more disconnected and lost. He learns that true belonging doesn't come from trying to fit in someone else's idea of who he should be. Instead, he starts to understand that embracing his own identity, even with its difficulties, is key to finding peace within himself. These chapters show his awareness that self-acceptance and understanding are crucial to controlling a world full of racial tensions and social expectations.
We want to thank you for listening to our show today. It's been a great talk about Trevor and Noah's stories and how he navigated challenges growing up.
We have a great show for you next week. You're going to talk about chapters 15 through 18 in the next episode.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and tune in next week if you like today's episode.